Hello, in this lesson we will be talking about combustion reactions. Combustion reaction is a chemical change in which either an element or a compound combines with oxygen, and in this case it's specifically oxygen. This is kind of nice because if you're ever trying to identify a reaction and you see that we're adding O2, this is a dead giveaway that it is a combustion reaction. It might also be another type of reaction as well, but you could classify it as combustion. Typically, combustion reactions produce energy, okay, and we're going to see this in the form of heat and light. Uh, Combustion reactions are extremely important to our life. We combust gasoline to fuel our cars. We combust natural gas to heat our homes. So this is really something that we can see all over the place. I have a model of a combustion reaction here. Methane is a natural gas, and you can see that it is combining with oxygen to form carbon dioxide and water. Predicting these reactions is actually a little bit easier than it might look right now, and I'm going to give you a couple of hints as to how to make it really a smooth process. What I want you to note here is that we have a compound, methane, CH4, and it is combining with oxygen. They have balanced this equation for us, so we see that it takes 2 molecules of O2, and in the products there are of course 2 molecules of H2O as well as a molecule of carbon dioxide. So when we are combusting a hydrocarbon, if it goes through a complete combustion, we will always, every time, produce H2O and CO2. So if you see a hydrocarbon and we are adding oxygen to it, to predict that reaction, all you need to do for the products are put H2O and CO2 after the arrow. Balancing it is not always quite as simple, but actually predicting the products should be very straightforward. You might be wondering what a hydrocarbon is, and I have placed the definition here for you. It is a molecule where the compound is composed of carbon and hydrogen, and you can see that right in the name, hydrocarbon, hydrogen and carbon. So let's go through an example of a hydrocarbon combustion. Here we have C3H8. And this is propane, and we are combining it with oxygen. We of course know that CO2 and H2O are the 2 products. So we've predicted what will form in this reaction already. What we haven't done is balanced it, and we can see there are 3 carbon on the left hand side, only 1 on the right hand side, and the hydrogens are off, and the oxygens are off as well. So you know the steps to balancing this, but I will show you the final answer here. We get a coefficient of 1 in front of the propane, 5 in front of the oxygen, 3 in front of carbon dioxide, and 4 in front of water. Sometimes these are a little bit tricky, but you can rest assured knowing that you have the right products, that as long as you continue to work through the process, you will get the right answer. Combustion is not always hydrocarbons. That's the most common. That's what you'll see the most in our practice. But here's a chemical reaction that you've seen in class. Magnesium adding oxygen. We looked at this when we talked about combination reactions, but it is also a combustion reaction. The definition of a combustion reaction is the addition of oxygen to an element or a compound, which this clearly fits. When the reaction undergoes, we form magnesium oxide. To balance it, we need a 2 in front of the magnesium and a 2 in front of the magnesium oxide. I show you this just as a reminder. If you're seeing the plus O2, it is a combustion reaction, whether it's with a hydrocarbon or a metal, like in this case. Alright, the general equation is a hydrocarbon plus O2, and that yields CO2 plus H2O. This is not always the case, but will be the most common example that you see. The reactants are going to be a carbon or a compound or an element, and then adding oxygen. Oftentimes it will be a hydrocarbon. Probable products when combusting a hydrocarbon are CO2 and H2O, and that is combustion reactions. Okay? Remember, the key for this one is that if a hydrocarbon is undergoing combustion, the products are CO2 and H2O. There are more example problems. Check YouTube in the notes, and I will tell you where those are in your textbook.